Surface area of rectangular solids. So the surface area, in terms of the formula, so let's go over a few things so we understand when we look at the formula and what it means. So if we have like the shape below, right? So you have not as good of a drawing, but here it is. So you have a couple different things. So you have the width, you have the length, we're just going to do fancy L, and then you have the height. So W is the width, right, like how wide it is. L is for length, and H is for height. So how tall is it? Now, the formula for this is going to be, right, surface area of just rectangular solids. We're not looking at other things like that. So it's going to be 2 times WL, so width times L, is going to be 2 times width times L, so width times length, plus 2 times H, so height times length, plus we have 2 times H times width. So we just use different combinations. So really what this means is all we're doing, right, if we were to deconstruct this rectangular solid, right, you have the top and the bottom, so width times length, right, that we need to add up. So that's 2 of them, right? So these 2 are right here. And then next we have, we'll say, the sides, right? So we have the width times the height. So these are this one. And then lastly, for the height times the length, we have it right here. So on this side. So these sides right here, we'll just kind of, you have the height, and then we also have the length. So that's where we get these 6 sides. So what we could have done is just, took out the box, all the sides, out of did all these areas of each one, of each box, then added it all together to get our surface area of this whole box or rectangular solid. But this formula here is just a little bit more straightforward. So let's go ahead and start to solve for these. So example 1, find the surface area of the load below. So we are going to be looking at our formula and we're going to go ahead and start solving. So finding the surface area. Let's go and actually first look at what is W, H, and L. What is each one? Well, the width is going to be 10. And then our length, so how long is it? It's going to be 20. And how tall is it? It's going to be this 5. So now we have all the numbers, so we can go ahead and start to plug in to this. And so anytime we see a W, we'll put in 10, right? Or H, we put in a 5 instead of the H, and then instead of L, we put in 20. So let's go ahead and solve. So we have 2 times W, which is 10, times length, which is 20. So let's just put that all in parentheses. Now we go plus 2 times 5 times 20, because this is the height, this is the length. And then lastly, we go 2 times H times W. So we just go 2 times h, which is 5, times the width with it, which is 10. Now we can get our calculators out and start to solve for this. Or maybe we can do this actually in our head. So if we go 2 times, let's go 2 times 10, which is 20. So 20 times 20 is 400. Now, if you are not sure, if your mental math just doesn't quite compute, we can just get our calculators out and just go 2 times 10 times 20, which is equal to 400. Now, let's go ahead and keep going. So we have 2 times 5, so that's 10, times 20, which is 200. Once again, we can get our calculators out if you're not. 2 times 5 times 20, 200. And then this last one, 2 times 5, which is 10. And then we just go 10, because we just took that product. 10 times 10, which is 100. Right, and if you aren't sure, all we just have to do is go 2 times 5 times 10, and we get 100. And now we just do, all we have to do is addition. So we just add up. So 400 plus 200 plus 100. So what does that equal? Well, 400 plus 200 is 600, plus another 100 is 700. Now, if you can kind of see, you can see that there's one, right? You can see that all of these have that, so that indicates feet, right? And if there was a number that had like this, that means inches, right? Inches, if you just have one, that's feet. So this is going to be feet squared. Now let's do one more example. Example 2. Find the surface area of the load below if the measurements are 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 3 feet tall. So let's go back and think about our formula. Let's just write it back up here. So we're going to go SA for surface area, which is equal to 2 times W L plus, parentheses, 2 times H times L plus 2 times H times W. So let's go ahead and also write out. So our W is going to be 4, our length is going to be 8, and then our height is going to be 3. So now we can go ahead and put in our numbers now. So we get 2 times 4 times 8 plus 2 times 3 times 8 plus 2 times 3 times 4. So all we now need to do is just go ahead and multiply inside each parentheses, and then we'll add it all up. So we get 2 times 4, which is 8, and then we go 8 times 8, which is 64, plus, now 2 times 3 is 6, times 8 is 48, plus 2 times 3, which is 6, times 4 is 24. And now we can go ahead and just add these up. So we have 64, which is a little bit easier now, plus 48, plus 24, and what do we get? Well, we get 136, and that means feet squared. And so that's the surface area. So that means if we counted every surface, right, all of these, this side, and then the sides. That means we counted all 6 sides, and we added them up for all the areas of them, and we found it to be 136 feet squared.